It's week 4 of PFR on Lakeshore PBS. Tonight we get you ready for another big Friday night of high school football. Some big games, not too many, but we'll break them all down. And Wayne has an early Christmas present for me. Thank you, Wayne.
Oh, okay. That may have slipped my memory. What is it?
You might never know what it is,
okay.
but I'll show you.
Thank you.
All right, we have all that coming up next on PFR.
Program support comes from NIPSCO.
Honey, who is this guy?
Oh, that's Frank. Hey, Frank.
Honey, why is Frank in our bedroom?
He's showing us ways to save money. Plus, he'll even help us install LED bulbs and new shower heads.
Oh, well, he is leaving before I shower, though, right?
To schedule an energy assessment and learn more about energy usage, visit nipsco.com.
Frank, could you hand me a towel?
Alrighty, it's another edition of PFR on Lakeshore PBS. We start, as we always do, with the highlights of the previous week. It is our Week 3 PFR Rewind. Alrighty, PFR on Lakeshore PBS. Let's get it rolling now with our Players of the Week for Week 3 of the high school football season. We start, as always, with the offense.
And really, you got to start off with the man. I mean, Anthony Maceo is just outstanding.
I don't know if this is going to be the Anthony Maceo Offensive Player of the Week or the James DeLange
I know.
Offensive Player. It's still up for grabs.
That's
right.
It really is. Both of them are about averaging 5 TDs a game.
Both of them are dominating in the offensive stats to this point. Although New Prairie might have just scored again. I'm not sure.
Oh my God, I know.
Nick
Jeez.
Wilson, what a performance he and his offensive teammates.
Yeah, they played really well against Andrean, 158 yards he had and 4 TDs. And then Vince Bravo comes off the bench for Munster and has 139 yards and 3 TDs against East Chicago.
It was such a rough night for East Chicago, they had to move this week's game to Saturday.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's right.
They needed another day to prepare for Hobart. Man, Munster, that was a big win for them. They
Yeah, it
needed
was.
something
Nice
positive.
win.
All right, defensively.
This wasn't a great game. A lot of turnovers and things, but Lowell's defense really has come to play. Held Morton to 63 total yards.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Justovich getting to Bloomington, and then the Hoosiers learning how to play some zone.
Yes, that'd be nice.
Just-
Michael Scarcella from Valparaiso has 2 interceptions versus Laporte.
yeah, he had a big night.
Yeah. Devin Griffin from Portage, a 60-yard interception TD versus Lake Central.
Yeah, we just saw it, I think.
And then this is a big one. Lyric McFerrin from Michigan City. He used to be at Chesterton last year.
Right.
Transferred in.
All right, they got a few.
Yeah.
They got a few former Trojans over there at City.
And he had a 45-yard interception TD and helped Michigan City get that victory over Chesterton.
All right, special teams players of the week.
Nick Barbosa from Whiting, 81-yard kickoff return TD versus Boone Grove.
Matt Heilich, a couple
Right.
field goals.
Oh, he had a couple of nice ones, 38-43. And Milan Dezelich from Kankakee Valley had a 23 and a 21-yard field goal. And then J.J. Wattis from Andrean had a 37-yard field goal versus New Prairie.
And the most coveted National High School Football Award there is, the Unknown Player of the Week on PFR. Now, we got a message this week from one of our viewers saying that Anthony Swims should have been a Defensive Player of the Week, but
Anthony who?
Anthony Swims.
Yes.
Anthony Swims should have been a Defensive Player of the Week. But when you're eligible for the Unknown
Right.
Player of the Week, it's
Right.
a much more prestigious
Oh,
award.
Definitely.
So that takes all precedent. So he was an unknown player of the week instead of.
Well, he had 2 interceptions and a game-saving tackle, so, what an outstanding
Might have
game
had like
he had.
11 tackles or
Yep.
9 tackles as
Yep.
well.
Dalen Wren from Michigan City had 126 yards and 2 TDs for Michigan City against Chesterton. Brayton Van,
Yeah, never heard of him.
Boone Grove, had 153 yards plus a 40-yard interception TD.
He's famous now, though.
Yes. And Logan Reynolds from Kankakee Valley had a fumble recovery and a TD versus Hamlin
All right,
High.
those 4 are no longer eligible for the most coveted award,
That's
the
right.
Unknown. They have to do it on special teams, offense, or defense. All right, time now for the polls. We'll start first with this week's Little Five. Wayne, I have people texting me, emailing me on Monday afternoon. They want to know what the polls are.
Really?
Yeah, and I'll only let a few who got to go to press, with it. I'll only tell it to a couple here and there. We can't let it get out until Thursday night. But there is the Little Five.
Wheeler is at this point 2-1, and they're number 5. Bowman is 3-0 on the season. They got a big game against Westside.
And I don't think they're eligible for the postseason.
They are not.
No.
But I decided we should put them in our
Yeah,
poll.
I don't have a problem with that. They do have the side. That'll be an interesting game.
That's right. Rensselaer is having a great year, 3-0, and
Yes, they
Knox. Knox is going to have a good game this week.
Knox
And,
has been outstanding so far
really,
this
they
year.
really have.
Yeah.
And then Hanover Central has just been burying people, so kudos to them.
They've been a big machine so far
That's
this
right.
year. All right, now the reshuffled top 10 after last Friday night in high school football.
At the Labor Day weekend, I kind of took a quick look at the polls, and then I had an epiphany, and
Yeah,
I
there
said,
you
wait a minute.
Maryville's
what's
back
happening?
in.
They're back in.
They're
Nice
kind
little
of
crowd point.
on probation, though.
Yes,
I
they
think
are. Yeah, they are, definitely. And Drain
Almost
drops.
went out.
Yeah. And Drain drops. They were beaten by New Prairie, who's number 8
Prairie's
here.
2-1. The Prairie is 2-1.
Yes. LaPorte
2-1.
is LaPorte is 2-1 at 7. Hobart comes in at 2-1. Nice victory for them this week. Chesterton playing well, but they got
beat by Michigan City.
They beat Michigan City. That's a good team.
Good game, yeah.
That's right. Griffith still playing very, very well. Michigan City, that's going to be a big game. Valpo and Michigan City.
Yep.
And Lowell is 3-0 so far, number 2 in our poll.
And the number 1 team
Valparaiso Vikings.
came back to reality a little bit with the defense being on the field a long time. They bent but did not break. Obviously, the big injury is going to be big this week.
Yes. The young man Reese Crossan, yes, stepped in and he played well. So, but you really want your starting quarterback if you can get him in.
Yeah, heck yeah. All right, it's time for another edition, Wayne, of Mascot Madness on PFR.
An ingot is defined as a mass of refined metal cast into convenient shape for transportation. This is a definition that River Forest High School has held dear to its students since its origin in 1959. In 1957, nearby Hobart High School had reached maximum student capacity, and a second school was needed. Many of those who lived near River Forest worked in the nearby steel mills, and the name the Ingots was quickly decided upon. While River Forest has been named the Ingots since its conception, the true mascot of the school is Joe Magarac, a folk hero originating from the steel mills of Pittsburgh. It was said that Magarac was born in the mills and could bend hot steel beams with his bare hands. River Forest High School believes in forging their students into strong, refined adults forward as quality citizens in Hobart's community.
All righty.
All right.
Love that.
I do. Another great mascot and great presentation.
Don't forget tomorrow night to listen, 6 o'clock to 10:30, Lakeshore Game Night on 89.1 FM, Lakeshore Public Radio. Wayne, Tommy, and all the scorers throughout the evening on 89.1 FM. And then we'll be back here tomorrow night live at 10:30 on PFR Scoreboard for Week 4, scores and highlights from all across Northwest Indiana. It is now another edition of Throwback Thursday on PFR. Throwback Thursdays brings us to another PFR Classic highlight back in 2006. The visiting Slicers of LaPorte were in to take on the Valpo Vikings. The two squads needed not only one, not two, but 3 overtime periods to decide a winner. This game saw a ton of running touchdowns, turnovers, and huge plays as the schools combined for 113 points. In the third overtime, LaPorte did not play it safe as they went for the 2-point conversion instead of settling for the tie, winning the game by the score of 57-56.
My God, 113 points in a high school
I don't know what
football
time that
game.
one ended.
I don't know. Did Gary do that one?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But you know, there was a game at Valpo a few years ago with the lightning delays that didn't end until about 1 or 2 in the morning, I believe.
That's right.
That one must have been a late night as well. All right. It is now time for our game of the week, Wayne. Time for our big-time matchup. And one of the big questions of the week, listen closely, it's going to be answered here in our segment. T-Dub was out at Valpo and Michigan City.
That's right, guys. We're back out at Valparaiso again because they're involved in another big ball game. It's a Duneland Conference matchup against Michigan City. Coach Dave Coyle joining us again, and it's getting to the point now we're going to have to start paying you. This is a weekly program now.
No, I think it's great what you guys do and the coverage that we get, and you're right on. It's going to be a great football game. They're doing a lot of great things at Michigan City, and they've made that turnaround last year, and another great football team again this year coming in with us, and it should be a great game Friday night.
Let's talk about your football team and the million-dollar question. How is your quarterback? Will he be available on Friday?
Our quarterback is not available. I can't go into why. As you all know, there's rules against that. So at this point in time, we're going to take each week one step at a time and reevaluate.
So you have a backup QB that's going to take over. He got some playing time last week. So how important is that to him going into this matchup?
Well, obviously, the speed of the game that he's going to see this week is probably second to none. As I've talked to some other coaches too around the Duneland, understanding how fast Michigan City is, that's huge. So you can't really recreate that. You do your best, but our big job right now is just to make sure that he's comfortable, he understands what we're doing, and has that confidence going into the game.
And in spite of the problems you had as far as keeping your quarterback healthy, you picked up a big win against LaPorte last week. How satisfied were you with the way your team played?
Well, I think that, we went into films the next day, and LaPorte will be the first to tell you, we fumbled 3 times inside the red zone, and it should have been a different outcome. And if I'm their coach, I would certainly say the same thing. However, take nothing away from the defense. They gang tackled most of the night. They stripped the ball away most of the night, did a nice job with that, stayed on their tasks, and we got after it. Offensively, I was pleased. LaPorte does a great job offensively. They eat a lot of clock up. The opportunities that we did have, we tried to take advantage of, and we were able to come out ahead instead of falling behind. So it was big for us.
And it helps to have the defense that you've had so far this season.
Yes, it does. They've done a great job. And again, take nothing away from LaPorte. It was a very hard-hitting game. It was a great game. It's one of those games you hate to see somebody lose, but for our sake, we were able to come out ahead.
And once again, you face a number 1 quarterback. McCullough's having a pretty good year for Michigan City.
It is, and I think everybody says, well, they're 3-1 and Valpo's 4-0. Let's not forget who their loss was too, as they went over to Homewood Flossmoor and played one of the most respected and toughest teams in the state of Illinois. So everybody understands that, and it's going to be a great game here Friday night, and I expect nothing but right down to the wire again.
Coach, again, thanks a lot, and who knows, we might see you again next week. You never know.
Great. We'd love it. Thank you very much for everything.
All right, Coach, and let's say we make the trip out to Michigan City right now and see what the Wolves have in store for Friday. And we're at the city now to take a look at Michigan City and their matchup coming up against Valparaiso. This guy you're familiar with, Phil Mason, the head coach of Michigan City. And, Coach, first off, nice way to bounce back from that tough loss to Homewood Flossmoor last week.
Yeah, we had we thought that our defense played extremely well against Chesterton. Offense came out with a really fast start, and then kind of sputtered a little bit, and finally in the second half got things back on track. But yeah, it's a great win against a really good opponent.
Of course, the Duneland Conference is no cakewalk. You got another tough one coming up on Friday.
Valpo's a really good football team this year. Defensively, their front is going to give us a lot of problems. We're going to have to really get prepared for them. And offensively, I think their quarterback's a kid that's going to Southern Illinois. I've got a kid who played quarterback for me, playing quarterback down at Southern Illinois. So I know how good of a football player that young man is. So yeah, we got our hands full here.
Let's go back to what you talked about with the defense. Only 7 points, actually less than 7 points given up per game this season. Your offense will be tested.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And we're going to be tested up front because that's where they're really good. Their front 4 get off the ball. And again, I think that's where we benefit from playing HF. HF's front was unbelievably physical, unbelievably fast. So, I don't know if Valpo's across the board as good as they were, but they're very good.
Of course, your quarterback is very good. Let's talk about McCullough.
Michael's doing a great job this year. He knows that he's kind of the guy in the saddle, where last year he might have been a part-time guy with Marquise and Arion back there, but he's he had a couple forced errors against Griffith, but he rebounded strongly again from that, and he had a great ball game on Friday night against Chesterton. So he'll keep that going.
How about the supporting cast, quote unquote? You had a few guys that could carry the ball just in case McCullough might have been a little off. What about this year?
Our skill set is fantastic. Keyshawn McGill at wide receiver, Cameron Muhammad, Dalen Wren at tailback, and a host of others around those guys that are just doing a fantastic job. So we've got a great skill set. Again, being a former offensive lineman, I always put it on those guys up front. They got to continue to get better, and we got a D1 guy up there in Braden Fisk, and four juniors behind him that are doing a great job. So I look forward to them being tested here on Friday night.
Coach, nothing but the best coming up on Friday, buddy.
Thanks, Tommy. I appreciate it.
Okay, Joe Wayne, you now know the situation. Who you got?
All right, let's break it down a little more before we see Wayne's pick for this game. I think you're right. I think Michigan City's got to pressure the quarterback now that we know that Jake is going to be out. Although we'll see if Valpo mixes in some of that single wing direct snap with a week to prepare, to try to take some heat off the
young quarterback,
young and
Reese
experienced
Crossan.
quarterback. Yeah. I think you're right too. McCullough's got to play. They've had a couple turnovers. They've had some penalties.
Yes.
Had penalties last week against Chester, and so Michigan City's going to need to cut down on those mistakes as well.
Valpo is. They are top in Northwest Indiana defensively, allowing almost less than 7 points a game. So, the offensive line and defensive line for Valpo is going to be stronger. And if they can play well, especially at defense, they've got a very good chance. But they also have, Valparaiso also has the toughest schedule right now in Northwest Indiana.
Yeah, one of the toughest in the state.
Mishawaka and LaPorte, yep.
So they're battle tested.
Yep.
Michael Scarcella, some of that, they did give up yards, but they made some big plays.
Yes.
We saw his pick, we saw his strip. So the defenses are going to be huge as well. We'll see your pick here, and then we'll have all the picks coming up on Wayne's World.
Hey, I like Valpo at home. I like Valpo at home.
Time now for all of them. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You didn't flinch and go for the hat too soon.
No.
All right. Time now for Wayne's World.
Good observation.
Are you still wondering about where the Christmas present is? It's coming up.
Okay. It's not the red check mark there?
No.
No, okay.
No,
okay.
you reported that accurately. 2-4 from the season. Not good. But you are still not. Did we get the math correct?
Oh, sure. Darn right.
You're still not over 70% though. So that's the big thing. All right. You liked the Bulldogs right out of the gate.
I like the Bulldogs. They're playing at Lake Central, but I think that Crown Point's defense will be the key.
I really think that's a toss-up game. I couldn't go for LC. All right, you like LaPorte.
Okay, I like LaPorte over Chesterton. If they get their fumbles corrected, this should be another good game.
Should be.
Louis Razzo from Chesterton.
And I like Portage as well with Maceo. Maryville, I'm not buying yet on them. After 1 week, they did turn it around a little bit. Their offense needs to get a little bit more consistent.
Right.
All right, I'm still scratching my head over the Andrea New Prairie game.
Me too. 3 points? Come on.
Almost 40.
But Andrean, I think, over Hammond this week, getting back on the winning track. Lowell, obviously, is going to win there. And Munster, okay, they played well last week. That should be a good game.
Should be a good game. All right, elsewhere, you like Highland.
Over Gavitt. And I like North Newton over Kankakee Valley.
I like KV, but that game might be closer than that 14-point spread.
And then the surprise of the week for me was Boone Grove's win over Whiting. I'm picking a 2-game win streak right here, Joe. 2 games. And their victory, a close one.
I think you're going to be right. All right, you like Griffith big over Calumet.
I do. I like Griffith. This may be a high-scoring game, though, because Calumet's put some points on the board this year. And I like South Central over Bishop Knoll. And Hanover Central is playing very well.
Yes, they are.
Right now.
All right, you're still, I got to hand it to you. You're not getting off the Whiting bandwagon.
No, I'm not. This week's practices, I mean, they were getting as close to the train tracks as they can, I think, their practices. I like them to bounce back over Wheeler.
I like Knox as well.
Right, I like Knox, and then I like LaVille Winamac over LaVille.
All right, I'm going for Wheeler. Wayne loves the Oilers, so do I, but he's still buying it, and I'm not selling it.
Okay.
I like
We'll take
Wheeler.
that one. All right.
Bearcats and Oilers pretty close in strength, I think.
I do too.
But I think Wheeler's going to win the football game at home.
Boy, Whiting's better find a quarterback, or they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I think they will be. All right, and the other pick. Here's the early Christmas present that Wayne gave me.
Ooh,
LaVille, I think, is a 20-point favorite in this game.
Really? That may be off of their last year's, thing, because I think that LaVille's 2-1 or something like that, or maybe 1-2.
Well, we'll see. I got burned last week by looking at the Sagarin ratings before. I might get burned 2 weeks in a row.
All right.
You never
I
know.
like Rensselaer over Twin Lakes. I like Bowman 3-0 over the side, and I like Roosevelt to come up with from Osceola Grace, whoever that is. And we've got one more that we don't have showing up here, Joe. And that is a Saturday game.
Saturday morning.
I like Hobart.
You like the Bricks.
Over East Chicago Central, 28-14.
Okay. All right. I have to agree with you there. I hope the Sagarin ratings didn't fool me 2 weeks in a row. But we'll see. Don't forget tomorrow night, PFR Scoreboard live 10:30 right here on Lakeshore PBS. We'll have scores and highlights from across Northwest Indiana in high school football. And don't forget to turn in Tommy and Wayne, 89.1 FM, the Lakeshore Public Radio. I want you to do me a favor. I heard a rumor that Dr. Reed Amons, the former math teacher, says that 50% is not high enough for the I want you to ask him on the air tomorrow night.
Okay.
To tell me what's the percentages. Give me something that the red check mark should be shooting for. All right. Hopefully Wing has time to do that tomorrow night. We'll see you tomorrow night live at 10:30 on PFR Scoreboard. Good night.
Program support comes from NIPSCO.
Honey, who is this guy?
Oh, that's Frank. Hey, Frank.
Honey, why is Frank in our bedroom?
He's showing us ways to save money. Plus, he'll even help us install LED bulbs and new shower heads.
Oh, well, he is leaving before I shower, though, right?
To schedule an energy assessment and learn more about energy usage, visit nipsco.com.
Frank, could you hand me a towel?